Hello, my friends. It's Monday night again. Monday Night Mystery Card Monday. This is number 21. If you are here to join me or even just to watch, please let me know you're here. Hi, Nancy. Let me know you're here so I can say hi to you, and don't be afraid to make comments. And I'm going to go over the materials list. This is Michelle's craft, well, it's actually Shelly's Craft Cottage, but this is Michelle. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Aiken, South Carolina. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd be glad to be your demonstrator. Okay, so let's go over the materials. You're gonna cut a piece of card base 5.5 by 8.5 and score it at 4 1/4. You're gonna cut a coordinating piece of cardstock at 3.5 and 4 3/4. Then you need a beige or white or very vanilla, cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and also a 3 3/4 one by 5. You're gonna you should have chosen an image or some die cuts you're gonna put on your card. You need some scrap white, beige, or very vanilla cardstock for some images that we're going to cut out. And 2 coordinating cardstocks for other images. And you'll understand what I mean by that when you see it. You're gonna need some adhesive, some dimensionals. Of course, you need stamp sets, 1 or more, for your sentiments, your greetings, and some images. And you need your coordinating inks, some embellishments, and jute, twine, or ribbon. Okay? That being said, let's start with our first clue. Clue number 1 says, fold and burnish your base. So this is my base, this is what I chose, and I wanted to point something out. If you can see that, it's kind of looking like a valley, and this is looking like a mountain. I prefer to fold my cards because it gives you a neater image this way, okay? So I put the mountainside on the inside. Okay, so I'm gonna line up my edges, make sure everything is square. And then I'm going to burnish my card, my fold. Okay, so it says stamp an image around the perimeter of the front of the card. So this is the front of my card. So I'm going to stamp some images. Part of it's going to be covered up. Hi, Lena. Part of it's going to be covered up with a layer, so you don't have to go very far in. You just need to do the edge. So let me show you what I am going to do. I'm going to put it this way, and I'm using the wild wheat to match the paper, and I'm going to stamp off each time, just so it's stamping off means that you ink up your pad, you stamp to get some of the ink off, and then you stamp on there, so you have a lot less ink. I may need to refresh you. Keep going in and out. Oh, okay. Okay, stamp off. And when you do this, you want to do it in different directions. You don't want it to go in the same direction all the time. Stamp off. And turn it a little bit. Stamp off. Oops. Turn it a little bit. Stamp off. So these are like little rocks. Okay, I'm going to go around this side. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope you had a nice weekend. I did. It was my anniversary this weekend, so we went out to eat. And then we had company. Oh, then Sunday, my granddaughter, who's 21, made her confirmation. Was baptized at the church her and her boyfriend go to. So we went to that, and that was a long, long process. We were there for quite a while. And then we went out to eat with them after. So that was nice. Okay, and see how I got some ink on the edges? I want to make sure to clean that off, because if I don't, it could get on my card. So I just clean the edge off. Okay. There we go. So I got some decoration around the outside. Now the stamp set I'm using is Seaside Wishes. It's one of the new stamp sets. It came out in the latest catalog. This card that we're making tonight, I made the sample obviously, and it was the first time I had used the set. I've been dying to use the set. And so I finally thought of something to make with it so that I could use it. I love the set. I think the card that I made is very pretty. I think you'll like it. Okay, so I'm not going to put that too far because I'm going to need it. So it says stamp the edges around the perimeter and set aside. Okay, so I'm going to set it aside over here. That's the end of clue number 1. Clue number 2. If anybody's here, like Elizabeth, if you're here, let me know you're here. Okay, so it says orient your card in a landscape or portrait. So I am going to do mine in portrait this time. I'll show you the card I made. I'm going to orient mine in landscape. I made a portrait one. I'll show you that after. So decide which way you're going to, you're going to have your card go this way, or you're going to have your card go that way. So make that decision. And then you want to stamp a sentiment or other images on the 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 white, beige, or very vanilla cardstock. So I am going to, before I start that, I want to do a little decoration around the outside of this perimeter as well. So I decided I was going to use that little sand, the sand particles. And this too I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to do this first, and then I'll do my image. Okay, so I'm going to stamp off to get it not so dark, and then put some here. So that's what stamping off does. It allows you to lighten the ink a little bit. So I don't want that to be standing out too much. I want it to be, I want it to be there, but I don't want it too dark. And I like to turn it around in different directions, get different effects. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm glad you made it. Elizabeth said she was going to come, but she just wanted to watch. I'm going to wipe off that block because I got a little bit on the edge. Okay, so see how it's so much lighter? Like, here's what it would be full strength. Here's what it would be stamped off. So if you just want a little bit of a effect, you just stamp off, okay? And sometimes we push harder than other times, so sometimes it's darker, sometimes it's lighter. And if you turn it different ways each time, oops, I gotta clean my block off. Try that again. That's just a matter of making sure that I press down evenly with my block. If you're not even when you press down, you're going to get ink on your block too. So you want to be careful of that. And when I'm chatting, sometimes I do that. Oh, you had to switch to phone, Lena? Computer didn't like it? Oh, I just did it again, see? I'm gonna wipe it off. Sometimes I'm looking the other way when I do this, so I'm not being careful. Just did it again. And with the newer pads, with the newer ink pads, they are a little bit juicier. So sometimes you got to be really careful that you tap, not press into it. Okay, so this is going to be my sand around the perimeter. You try to give yourself a little pattern. I'm just going to try to stick something right in there. There. Okay, so there's the sand around my perimeter. Obviously, if we have a seaside card, you need to have a little sand on it. Okay, so I'm going to put that back. And I'm going to take out my sentiment. And I thought this was a perfect sentiment with this stamp set, with this card. So I'm going to put it on here so I can line it up. And I know I'm upside down, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to try to get that as straight as possible, and then I'm going to pick it up. Okay, now I picked up very crooked, so I'm going to have to be careful. So like I said, I'm orienting my card this way. So I'm going to, I want to use a different color. I don't want to use gray. I'm going to use that wild wheat, like the card, so it brings in that color. Okay, see if I can get this straight. I'm going to test it first to see. Oh, it's perfect. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to put it right up here. I'm going to stand up so I can make sure I'm getting it straight. I don't have my head in the... I hope it's straight. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. I thought that was so perfect for this card. Okay, so I got my sentiment. So it says, stamp your sentiment and other images, which is my sand, on this piece of cardstock. The next step is center and adhere this white cardstock to the 3.5 by 4 3/4 coordinating cardstock. So I chose this color, and you'll see why after. So that piece that we just did, you're going to center it on here and stick it, adhere it. So I like to do my edges, my borders first. And then I pick up one edge. Let me undo my glue. And then if I'm slightly crooked, I still have some time to adjust it. And that looks good. So now I'm doing the other side. Yeah, you're right, Lynn. I'd use a smaller block so you got less of a chance of catching the edges of the ink. You are right. But I didn't do it. Okay? So now it says, wrap ribbon, jute, or twine around your card. So I am going to use this jute, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't use it very much. This is probably maybe the second or maybe the third. See how I did that with thumbnail so I could get some of that curl out of there. I haven't used it very much because I find it pretty bulky, but for this card, I really like it. So I'll show you. So I'm going to measure more than I need. And then I want my bow or whatever I'm going to make to be over on this side of the card. Okay. I love the glass, but you know it's very slippery. So I'm going to do this, and I'll show you what I did on my other card. I didn't make a bow. I made this little fancy, see if I can do it again. I made this little fancy one-sided bow. Let's see if I can do it. I remember what I did. Oh yeah. So I went like this, and then I just brought this through without making another bow on that end. And then I pulled them nice and tight. And that's what I got. I got this instead. So I thought that was kind of different and neat. So I'm going to trim those a little bit. And I can make that a little bit smaller if I want. There we go. Yeah, so that's kind of a little different than the traditional bow. Okay, so it says wrap the twine and you're done with that unit. Okay, so stamp an image. I'm going to set this aside. An image on the 3 3/4 by 5 white, very vanilla or beige cardstock, and that's this one. Let me just double check. Yep. So this is the one that's going to go on the inside. All right. Hi, had a chance to stop by. Hi, Joanne. Glad you joined us. So this is going to go on the inside, and I'm orienting this way. So I'm going to pick an image. Let me see what I'm going to pick. I want to do something different than last time. I think I'll do, the sand dollar. And I'll do it in the yellow, but I'll put some brown sand around it. So this too I want to stamp off because first of all, this ink is very bright and I don't want it to be that bright on the inside of my card anyway. Okay, see that? Okay, so I'm going to get the little sand and do a little bit of sand around it. So you get the effect of like being on a beach. And that'll dry a little differently. Okay, so I'm going to do a little sand. I'll stamp off and do this. Stamp off. Oops, see, I did that with my card, with my block again. That's all right, I just disguised it. Looks like it's part of the, looks like it's part of the sand now. Big chunk of sand. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for the inside. You can add a sentiment on the inside of yours, obviously. Do what you'd like. Everybody caught up with me? Don't want to get too far ahead here. This card's relatively simple. Okay, now it says centering it here on the inside of the card. So now remember what you decided, whether you're landscape or portrait. So remember when you stick that in to put it the correct way. Okay, so I'm going to center this. I made it a little bit smaller than because I want lots of that yellow, that wild wheat showing. I think it's just a beautiful color. When we first got this, I was like, oh gosh, I don't think I'm going to ever use that color. But I'll tell you, I have used it. It coordinates really well with gray, number one, and blues. And I'll show you on my card that I made as my sample. It goes very well with the blues, even the pink. Pink and gray together are always beautiful anyway. And it goes nice with this yellow. Wild wheat. Okay, make sure I'm straight. Okay, Nancy, you hanging in there? Lena, you hanging in there? Okay, so that's the end of clue number 3. Now, clue number 4 says, stamp an image on some scrap paper, and or you can have images that you cut or die cut or fussy cut. And I did some die cutting, so I'm going to show you what I did. I die cut this to match the card. I die cut, I thought I had 2 of those. Oh, there it is. I die cut 2 of those, and I die cut 3 of those. Now I did 3 because I couldn't decide what sizes I wanted to use. I wanted it to be big enough. Well, actually, this is going to go on here. I wanted this to be big enough so that it would cover enough of the card. Put it so you can see it. And I don't mind it going over the edge like that because there's a big edge. So this is what I kind of wanted to do. So I think this size is going to be better. The bigger one was good on my other card because I oriented differently, but I think I'm going to do this one on this one. Okay, so what I want to do first is I want to do some dry brushing on top of the ones I am going to use. So let me get my brush. So on the sand dollar, I'm going to put, I am going to put a little bit of yellow. It's not yellow. It is wild wheat. So when you do dry brushing like this, you tap, 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 okay? But then you tap, tap, tap on scrap. See how much came off? You don't want your color to be that way. And then you start off on the edge. And then on the sand dollar, you gotta decide which edge you wanna use. This side sticks up, and this side goes down. So I'm using this side because I want a little color around those little, I don't know what you call those, veins in the middle there. Okay, so you see how I'm just doing that real lightly? No pressure, just a little bit of color. Okay. So that's all I'm going to do on that one. So I'm going to clean my brush off. There. And I'm going to go to the gray, to the pebbled path. That's what this color is. And the starfish. So again, let me get that out of the way. Again, you tap, 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 then you tap, tap, tap off on this, and then you go around on this. And this isn't going to stand out a whole lot because it's a soft color. It's a light color, but you'll see it when it's against the white, it shows up a lot more. And you can see I'm getting it by what you see here. Okay? You don't want any big gobs of it on there because it'll really stand out, and you won't like that. Okay, so I'm going to go around at starfish again. I just want to get the ends. Okay, so you can see it. Oops. Now this is what it looked like before I started, and this is what it looks like now. So you see there is a difference. And it gives it a little bit more depth Okay. Tap off. Make sure there's not a whole lot of ink, and then I'm going to go around this guy. Give him a little personality. Okay. One more time. One more time around. That way it gives him the tips of his, what do you call those, tentacles? Gives him a little bit of depth there. You see that? Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush off again. And that takes care of that. Okay, so that's the directions for stamp images on scrap paper. I didn't want to have to cut these all because these three come in one embossing folder, and it's got a die that cuts them as well. So you get 3 of them out. This is a separate die, and these were separate dies. But these come out in one, and I had to do it 3 times before I got it to come out nice. I was having a problem with like some of the edges not cutting all the way through. So I didn't want to have to worry about that on live tonight. So I just got them done before. Okay, so then it says, okay, so that's the end of number 4 because we're die cutting and stamping those. And number 5 says, and people laugh at me when I say this, audition your images or your die cuts on the front of your card. Make sure your hand's clean. Yep. And then you audition them where you want them. Like, I think I'm going to do this. Definitely going to put him up there. Bring some more color out. And I'm going to go over this way, I think. And then this little guy may be up here. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so the only one that's going to be down is going to be this, and I'm not really sure what that's called, but that's the only one that's going to be glued down. The rest of them are going to have dimensionals. So I am going to eyeball something around here so I can remember about where it is. And then I'm just going to put, whoa, way too much glue. I'm just going to put glue on the center part of it. Okay, I'm just smearing all that glue that came out first. And I believe it was right about here. Okay, now I got my dimensionals. I'll do the sand dollar next. So I can put them all around the sand dollar so it gives it some stability. Because if you don't put enough, when you put the other ones on top of it, it might be a little bit wobbly. So I'm going to put 4. I love the sentiment on the card. Yes, I do too. And I was thinking sand dollars and sand, that's kind of the little things in life, right? It's one of my favorite places to be is on the beach. Either ocean or lake. Okay, so this you're going to turn to however you'd like it. And I want mine to go just off the edge a little bit. Because we got a base underneath it. Okay? And then I want to put a little Wink Estella on that after. Where did I put it? Oh, it's on the table. Okay, now I'm going to take my starfish, and because it's going to overlap, I'm just going to put 1 dimensional in the middle. And then I'll I'll put a tad of glue where it meets. There, see? And I'm just going to put like a little tiny bit of glue so it'll stay there. So putting the one-dimensional and putting it that close brings this to the same level as that one. And then this one needed a small dimensional because he was just a little guy. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to put him. Yeah, right there would be good. Doesn't that look nice? Probably could have pushed things over a little bit, but that's okay. Now you want to make sure your ribbon is, or whatever you put in there. Okay, so it says attach your images as desired using adhesive and dimensionals. And that's what I did there. Okay, that's the end of clue 5. And I didn't put in the directions to adhere this. You can do it with dimensionals, or you can do it flat with your glue. Just make sure your ribbon is straight when you glue it. So I'm going to turn this over. And I like to use my grid to make sure that they're both about the same spot. Yep. Okay. And because that jute is chunky, I am going to go like this. And then like this. So we can get that all glued down. Okay, now I'm going to center it and then pick it up to make sure it's where I want it to be. Now see, you didn't have to do very much of that border because it ended up underneath this panel. So I'm going to hold this for a second because it does have that jute in the way, so I want to hold it for a little bit to make sure everything is getting adhered. And give your glue a chance to do its job. And if you're not sure you like the ribbon being loose, you can put a glue dot behind it. I do that really often. So I'm going to do that. So to do that, I'm going to go under my glue dot, if I can find it, under the glue dot and make it into like a little burrito. Roll it. And then I'm going to just slightly move my bow, or this, whatever you want to call what I made, and then stick that under. Just make sure your glue's underneath there. There you go. This looks so much more yellow, huh? Than the wild wheat. Okay, now it says embellish with gems as desired. So I chose these iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. I think they're very stunning and they pick up a lot of colors and they add color. So I'm going to use the medium ones and put it on the 2 starfish. Actually, I'm going to put a big one on the bigger one. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little one because we have to have 3. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. because I've got extra space, I'm going to put one up here. There. And let me get my Wink of Stella. I thought it would be pretty to put that on the sand dollar. Add a little bit of pizzazz to that. So I'm going to do it in those areas there. There, can you see that? A little bit here. And in the center. Can you see that? Does that show? There you go. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. I do agree. And then that's my inside. Very pretty. I have to make some more with this set. So here's the one I made. Very beautiful, thank you. Very pretty, thank you. So here's the other one I made. I made it in blue first. Blue's my favorite color. I did the same thing. I stamped off, did the blue around the edge, did the sand. I really, really liked it. That's where I came up with this little knot. It was actually, I couldn't make a very good bow with this jute. I just found it to be too bulky, so I ended up just doing it like that. So I repeated it here. So when I got ready, excuse me, got ready to cut the materials for this mystery card. Yeah, you love the blue. It is my favorite one. I said, I want to do a different color this time. So I looked at the jute because that's what was going to lead me to decide. And I said, oh, I got this color. I thought about doing it pink, but then decided I wanted to do more of a yellow, more of a golden color. So this one oriented portrait, and this one is landscape. And I think I like the blue. Blue is my favorite color, but I think I like the orientation of this one better. And see how nice that pebbled path went, you know, with these two colors. Went beautiful with the blue, went beautiful with the wheat. And I know it would go gorgeous with the pink as well. So that is my cards for tonight. And now your card is complete. Make sure to take a picture. And me too. And blue is my favorite. Yeah, blue's your favorite color? That's cool. That's why we get along, Elizabeth. Take a picture of your card and post it on the post that states the materials. The post that had all your list of what you needed to, from the beginning, okay? So make sure you put it under that one on Shelly's Craft Cottage Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I have a good amount of people here tonight. I'm real happy. And I want to see your cards, Nancy and Lena. So post them under the comments as soon as you get a chance. And I hope to see you next time on mystery card number 22 on May 27th. Now that is because, oh, that's a week from today, right? Yes, that's next week. Yep. So I'll see you next Monday, and I hope more of you will get your materials ready and cut along with me and make a card along with me. I would really love that. The more the merrier. And I love that you just came and watched too, Elizabeth and Joanne. That was fun too. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for all you do. And remember, life is better when you're crafting, and there are no mistakes, just unique creations. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.